Today's February 18th, 2019, and this is episode 48 of PlaneSavers. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to show you that awesome sunrise over the King Air 100. It is Monday morning. It is minus 27 degrees Celsius, which is minus 17 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, it is a good day. Today is a catch-up episode. If you don't know what the catch-up episode, that means I have footage, crazy amount of footage being downloaded on my computer right now. Probably 3 or 4 days of content that people have been sending me. Whew, I don't know what's good. I don't know what's good or not because it is downloading. It looks like I'm gonna need some editing, and I might have a special extra surprise for you towards the end of the video, but we'll have to see how today works. There's nothing enhancing the audio today. It's a nice quiet day. All the airplanes are already out. And whew, let's get back inside and get this episode started. And thank you so much for joining us. We got a tractor a little bit with the audio. Look at that sundog. Can you see it? You can kind of see that sundog. Okay, folks, let's get today started. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 30,000 subscribers. So Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube unlocks some new features for me. So if you've been watching and you haven't subscribed yet, check it out. And if you're new to the channel, geez, got a lot of catching up to do. What is today? Episode 48? A lot of stuff, man. Okay, folks, let's start off today's episode with actual restoration. Let's head over to the metal shop where I got a surprise for you. Hey, folks, okay, we got an awesome surprise for you today. We are in the metal shop. You can see Rod's over there doing something. And hey, Rod. Hey. But we're here to see Dan Jones. This is Dan Jones. What's going on? What shirt you got on there? Boeing, right on. So Dan is an Electra captain. You've been flying Electras for us, what, 2 years now?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half. And but what kind of airplane? You know, there's a lot of aviation people. What kind of airplanes have you flown? Your whole. Just give us a little history.
Well, before I flew the Electra here, I flew the Lockheed Hercules, the civilian version of the Herc, for almost 20 years, just down the street at First Air, and then spent about 2 years in Africa with the UN. And prior to that, I flew Twin Otters and little airplanes in the bush, 185s and Beavers and that kind of thing.
And what kind of airplanes you got at home?
I've got a couple airplanes at home. I'm doing some fabric work on a J3 Cub at home right now, just about ready to put the wings back on it. And I'm restoring a Boeing Stearman, which is kind of similar to your dad's N3N.
Can anyone guess what this is right off the bat? Can you guys put it? Yes, if you got a DC-3 elevator, you'd be correct. And Dan's going to show us everything we need to know about the fabric covering that Rod touched on an episode so very long ago. So Dan, what can you give us a rundown on what we have here?
Well, the controls on your DC-3 down in Quebec are in pretty tough shape. So Uncle Ronnie and I went and looked through the spares, and we found a spare elevator that has been in storage, but it looked like a good candidate, so we brought it in here, peeled all the fabric off it. Your brother had a real heavy look at it.
Well, essentially the left and right elevators are exactly the same, so they're unhanded, which makes it a lot easier to hold a spare. The only differences are drain holes on what side you put them on. So people like to put the grommets in both sides if they don't know, and then they can open up the drain hole on the underside so water doesn't accumulate.
And we decided it was a good candidate to recover and for your airplane, and here it is.
Sounds good. Folks, there you go. This is the first piece. What did we, episode 48? There's been 48 episodes of a show about restoring an airplane, and here's the very first piece. So that's pretty efficient. So we'll see. Maybe episode 100 we'll get the next piece. But so Dan, can you just
by episode 100 it might be finished.
Yeah, so. That's true. So yeah, just give us a quick walk around of the control and things that you guys have been working on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the controls on the DC-3 are all metal structure. It's all aluminum structure, and they were fabric covered. They originally, during the war and when they were first built, they were covered in cotton, what they called grade A cotton. And the covering would last 6-7 years with cotton. And cotton kind of went out of fashion in about the 1970s, and it was replaced pretty much with a polyester fabric. Yes, which, that's actually a piece. It's light.
It's light.
It's light, but it's tougher than hell. So,
Yeah, you can hear that. It's
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. This is it's a very tough material, and this is unshrunk. When you hear people talking about old airplanes, they refer to them being covered in canvas, and they weren't. They were actually covered in cotton in the old days. If you ever covered something in canvas, of course, it's a very heavy kind of a crude. It's a cotton material, but it's a very, very heavy, very crude material, and if you ever covered an airplane in canvas, you'd probably never get it airborne. It'd be so heavy, and if you ever did, you'd probably really be wishing you hadn't. The fabric has been cemented on the structure.
what does that mean? Cemented on the structure?
Well, it's glued on. So it's a type of fabric cement that we use with this fabric to attach it to basically the perimeter of the whole structure. And then after it's dried, the fabric is tightened up. With this system, we're going to tighten it up by ironing it. But we're only going to iron it to about half its tautness, because the dope that we're going to put on afterwards is going to provide the rest of the tautness to it.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Dan, for that quick tour of our first piece of the aircraft. We'll come back in the next day or two and get an update on it, but I think that is a lot of information to digest for the people that this is new to, including myself. So hopefully that makes sense, and thanks, Dan.
I'll show you one more thing just before you go. You can add this in later or whatever you want, but during, and I'll give this to you. So during World War I, the Germans, of course, Germans being infamous for how efficient they are, made pre-colored, this is cotton, made pre-colored cotton fabric, and this pattern is what they called lozenge fabric. So when you put it on the airplane, all you had to do was hit it with a couple of coats of clear dope, and the airplane was done, painted essentially.
Did you see this, Ron?
What's that? You're gonna put a duck color?
We could.
But did you see this is how they used to do it in World War I?
This is World War I German. This is reproduction fabric. This was made in the 50s or late 50s.
Fairly new, 50s, fairly new.
For restoration. You'd never ever used it before, but that's what cotton fabric felt like back in the day. So, but yeah, the Germans would put this on their airplanes in the latter part of the war and just fire a couple of coats of clear dope on it, and it was done. It was camouflaged, and yeah. So if you want, if you can make any money for the airplane, you can take that and put it on eBay, or cut it in half and put two pieces on eBay.
Oh, that's very good, man. Let me know in the comments. That's very cool. I know that the guys at Quarks and all that cool stuff, all the Germans are actually doing really cool stuff. Did you see that Dornier episode? Yeah, that's really cool what they're doing. So, yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks for the quick history lesson. We'll be back, and we'll get down to the nitty gritty, because yeah, this is the stuff that we need to make the airplane fly. So, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Rod. Okay, first surprise, folks. Let's head over to the West Coast. Look at that airplane enhancing the audio. Let's head over to British Columbia.
It's Sunday, February 17th, and from the BC Aviation Museum in Victoria, it's the West Coast edition of PlaneSavers. In late 2018, the BC Aviation Museum received several large sections of a Lancaster labeled FM 104. This Lancaster had been on display in Toronto for a number of years and has been put in storage pending restoration. After a long set of negotiations, the Aviation Museum in Victoria agreed to take on this project, which is expected to take 10 years and likely in excess of $10 million. The restoration would be the second flying Lancaster in Canada and the third in the world. The Lancaster restoration will be taken on by volunteers of the Air Museum, helped by the members of the Victoria Air Maintenance, which restored the Mosquito F for Freddy in 2014. FM 104 was delivered to England in early 1945, but never saw any active service. It returned to Canada to become a Maritime Patrol Lancaster and was retired by the RCAF. While in Toronto, the Lancaster had to be separated into several sections, and some basic restoration work was started prior to it coming to Victoria. Because of the way it was publicly mounted while it was on display in Toronto for many years, a number of critical sections of the fuselage had been cut through, and this work has been started to try to restore and repair a number of the key sections of structure that will finally make this aircraft airworthy in the future.
I would really like to thank the BC Aviation Museum for sending over some footage and some, really good pictures here of their project. If you can imagine 10 years and $10 million to bring in, an Avro Lancaster flying is quite the task. Looks like they got a good collection of parts already, some Turret parts, and of course the Merlin engines, which are amazing pieces of engineering. So I wish them all the best luck. Thank you for sending the footage, and who knows? We keep them flying, and we'll keep us updated. Thank you, and make sure to check out their website, bcam.net. Okay, so I'm here with the world famous Tony Whitford, and he brought me some pictures.
Storytelling time. These pictures are back to the early 60s at Fort Smith. I was working part-time for Pacific Western. They'd bring in the freight on the DC-6s, and then we would transfer to the different planes, the DC-3s mainly, to go to the little communities. And we would fly all hours of the day and night. So there was this one day they were coming in, and late, 2 or 3 in the morning like that, and they drifted over to the east side of the airport a little bit too much, and they clipped the tops of these trees and put a hole in the wing of the DC-3, and then the engine on the, I guess it would be on the right-hand side here, it has an owl and bits of tree and an owl inside the cowling. Nobody got hurt. But they were so embarrassed, of course, they covered it with a big canvas. And the only way that the airport manager could tell where this occurred is he took a picture, and you could see the hole in the trees where the wing had hit. And then the engineer examined it and put a patch over the top with rivets, I remember that, or screws, and they flew it to Edmonton. Didn't do any structural damage, and mostly the sheet metal there, so. But it was an embarrassment to them nonetheless. But that's the story of these pictures.
That's very cool. What year would that be in?
That would be in 60, 58, 59, somewhere like that. No, you can have those.
Well,
if you
thanks,
got a collection,
Tony.
just stick them up somewhere and say, look, if you don't pay attention, this could happen.
Thanks, Tony.
Pleasure. Take care.
Okay, folks, Joe's back in town. He just landed from Red Deer. I'm going to end the episode there. We got lots enhancing the audio. We got a Twin Otter, Baron, King Air, whole good lot of stuff. So today was kind of a ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. We had the past with Tony Whitford bringing us pictures from the late 50s, early 60s of that DC-3 damage. We got the future with the Lancaster that they're going to be restoring in Victoria, and we got the present, Dan Jones, currently in the metal shop getting us new elevators. These things are here for our bird in Montreal, DTD. Whew. Okay, folks, I'm going to end it there. There's a whole bunch of more footage, a lot of stuff I didn't get in today's episode, so we'll be seeing you tomorrow, and hope you liked today. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and I'll be making a lot more of these videos for you. Cheers.